The text came at 2:17 a.m. For simple words that would change everything. It hurts so much. James Morgan stared at his phone, heart racing. The number wasn't saved in his contacts. It was probably meant for someone else, a doctor, a friend, a lover. But something in those 4 words reached through the screen and grabbed him by the throat. He knew pain. He'd been drowning in it since Emily died 3 years ago, leaving him alone with their daughter. He typed back, "I think you have the wrong number. But are you okay?" If you're enjoying this story so far, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Your support helps us continue creating content that touches hearts. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then reappeared. Finally, "Oh God, I'm sorry. No, I'm not okay." But that's not your problem. James sat up in bed, fully awake now. He should just put the phone down. Go back to sleep. He had to get Lily to school in the morning, then work a double shift at the construction site. He had his own problems. Instead, he wrote, "Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Across town, in a small apartment with walls so thin they seemed to breathe with the neighbors' arguments, Mara Wilson clutched her phone like a lifeline. She'd meant to text her sister, but her vision was blurred from crying and her fingers had mistyped the number. Now some stranger was asking if she was okay, and the simple question broke something loose inside her. She hadn't been okay for months. Not since the diagnosis. Not since the treatment started failing one by one. Not since the doctors started using words like comfort care and quality of life instead of remission and cure. "I have cancer," she typed, then deleted it. Too blunt. Too much to dump on a wrong number at 2 a.m. But then again, what did it matter? She'd never meet this person. "I'm dying," she wrote instead. "And I'm scared." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. James felt the words like a physical blow. 3 years ago, he'd watched his wife waste away from the same enemy. He knew the vocabulary of cancer intimately, the stages, the treatments, the side effects, the statistics. He knew how it felt to stand helpless against an invisible invader. "I understand," he wrote back. "My wife died of cancer 3 years ago. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be okay. But you're not alone right now." He hesitated, then added, "My name is James." The response came quickly, "Mara. I'm sorry about your wife." "I'm sorry about your diagnosis," he replied. "Do you want to talk about it? Or about something else entirely?" "Something else," Mara wrote. "Tell me about your life." So James did. He told her about Lily, his 8-year-old daughter who loved dinosaurs and could name every species in her illustrated encyclopedia. He told her about the house he was slowly renovating, 1 room at a time, when he could afford materials. He told her about his job as a construction foreman, about the calluses on his hands and the satisfaction of building something that would last. And Mara told him about her life before cancer, her work as a children's librarian, her collection of vintage teacups, her dream of visiting Japan to see the cherry blossoms. They talked until the sky began to lighten, until James's alarm clock buzzed, reminding him that real life was waiting. "I have to get my daughter ready for school," he wrote reluctantly. "Thank you," Mara replied. "For answering a wrong number." "Anytime," James wrote, and was surprised to realize he meant it. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The next night, he texted her first, "How are you feeling today?" And so began a strange friendship, built on late-night texts and shared pain. Mara told him about her treatments, the good days and bad. James told her about the challenges of single parenthood, about the moments when he felt he was failing Emily's memory by not being enough for their daughter. You know what's weird? Mara texted one night. I've never heard your voice. I don't know what you look like. But I feel like I know you. Same, James replied. Maybe that's why it's easier. No pretending. 2 weeks after that first wrong number, Mara had a particularly bad night. The pain medication wasn't working, and she was alone in her apartment, her sister out of town for a conference. It hurts, she texted. Worse than before. James was already pulling on his shoes. What's your address? I'm coming over. You don't have to do that. I know. Address? 20 minutes later, he was knocking on her door. When it opened, he found himself face to face with a woman in her 30s, thin from illness but with eyes that still sparked with life. Her head was wrapped in a colorful scarf, and she wore a oversized sweater despite the summer heat. James? She asked, her voice hoarse. He nodded, suddenly unsure. This was crossing a line they'd silently agreed not to cross. But then she swayed slightly, and he stepped forward to steady her. Let me help, he said simply. That night broke him. He helped her take her medication, held her hair back when she was sick, sat beside her bed and read aloud from one of her favorite books when the pain kept her from sleeping. He saw firsthand what Emily must have experienced in her final months, the indignity of illness, the relentless assault on the body. When Mara finally fell asleep near dawn, James sat in her living room and wept silently, for Emily, for Mara, for all the unfairness in a world that took mothers from daughters and bright souls before their time. He called his neighbor to take Lily to school and texted his boss that he wouldn't be in. Then he made breakfast for when Mara woke up. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. You didn't have to stay, Mara said, picking at the scrambled eggs he'd prepared. I wanted to, James replied. Besides, my daughter is with her grandparents this weekend. I'm all yours. The words hung in the air between them, loaded with meaning neither was ready to acknowledge. Tell me about her, Mara said. Your wife. So James did. He told Mara about meeting Emily in college, about their small wedding in her parents' backyard, about the day Lily was born and how Emily had cried with joy. He told her about Emily's diagnosis when Lily was 4, about the brutal 18 months that followed, about holding Emily's hand as she took her last breath. She sounds wonderful, Mara said softly. She was, James agreed. She would have liked you. Mara smiled, a real smile that transformed her face. High praise. The highest, James said, and realized he was smiling too, for what felt like the first time in years. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. After that night, something shifted. James began visiting Mara regularly, bringing Lily sometimes. The little girl was shy at first, but soon warmed to Mara, especially when she discovered that Mara knew all about dinosaurs from her years as a children's librarian. You're good with her, James observed one evening as Lily fell asleep on Mara's couch, a dinosaur book open on her chest. I always wanted children, Mara admitted. That's the hardest part of all this. The future I won't have. James took her hand. I'm sorry. Don't be, Mara said. I'm getting to know Lily. That's something. As summer turned to fall, Mara's condition worsened. She moved in with her sister, who took family leave to care for her. James and Lily visited every few days, bringing home-cooked meals and new books. One evening in October, as James was leaving, Mara's sister followed him to the door. You know she's in love with you, right? She said bluntly. James froze. What? Mara. She loves you. And I think you love her too. It's not that simple, James protested. It never is, her sister replied. But she doesn't have time for complicated. Neither do you. That night, James couldn't sleep. He thought about Emily, about the promises he'd made to her. About Lily, who was finally healing from the loss of her mother. About Mara, who had come into their lives through a wrong number and somehow made everything right again. The next day, he brought Mara a cherry blossom bonsai tree. "I can't take you to Japan," he said. "But I thought I could bring a little bit of Japan to you." Mara touched the delicate pink blossoms with wonder. "It's beautiful." "So are you," James said, and meant it. Despite the ravages of illness, despite the weight she'd lost and the hair hidden beneath her scarves, she was beautiful to him. "James," she began, but he shook his head. "Let me say this," he said. "I know our time is limited. I know this isn't fair to either of us. But I love you, Mara. You texted the wrong number, but somehow it was exactly right." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too. But I don't want to hurt you. You've already lost so much. And found so much," he countered. "You've helped me live again. You've shown Lily that it's okay to love after loss. Whatever time we have, a month, a week, a day, it's worth it." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. They were married 2 weeks later, in Mara's hospital room. Lily served as flower girl, scattering petals on the sterile floor. Mara's sister was maid of honor. James's best friend from the construction site stood as best man. The hospital chaplain officiated. Mara wore a blue dress and a scarf embroidered with cherry blossoms. James wore the only suit he owned, the one from Emily's funeral, but with a new tie Lily had helped him pick out. "I never expected this," Mara said during their vows. "When I got my diagnosis, I thought my story was ending. But you showed me it was just changing direction. Thank you for answering a wrong text. Thank you for coming over that night. Thank you for loving me when I thought I was unlovable." James took her hands in his. "You gave me permission to be happy again. You helped me remember that grief and joy can exist in the same heart. You became Lily's friend when she needed one most. I promise to treasure every moment we have, and to keep your memory alive in all the moments after." They had 3 weeks as husband and wife. 3 weeks of movie nights in the hospital room, of James reading aloud while Mara drifted in and out of sleep, of Lily drawing pictures to decorate the sterile walls. 3 weeks of love compressed into a lifetime. Mara died on a Tuesday morning in November, with James holding one hand and her sister holding the other. Her last words were, "Take care of each other." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 1 year later, James stood at her grave with Lily beside him. The 8-year-old was now 9, taller and more solemn, but healing. They placed cherry blossoms on the headstone. "Do you think Mara can see us, Dad?" Lily asked. "I do," James said. "I think she and your mom are friends now." Lily considered this. "That's good. They'd like each other." "They would," James agreed. As they walked back to the car, Lily slipped her hand into his. "Dad? I'm glad Mara texted you by mistake." "Me too, sweetheart," James said. "Me too." That night, after Lily was asleep, James sat on the porch of the house he'd finally finished renovating. He looked at his phone, at the text thread with Mara that he couldn't bring himself to delete. "It still hurts," he typed. "But differently now. The pain has purpose. It reminds me that I was lucky enough to love twice in one lifetime. Thank you for that gift." He didn't expect an answer, of course. But as he set the phone down, it buzzed with an incoming text. A wrong number, with a simple message. "Hello? Is anyone there? I could really use someone to talk to right now." James stared at the screen for a long moment. Then he began to type. I think you have the wrong number. But are you okay? Sometimes, the wrong number is exactly the right one. Sometimes, the deepest connections come when we're broken open by pain. And sometimes, a single text in the middle of the night can change everything. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more stories of unexpected connections, second chances, and the healing power of human kindness. Remember that even in your darkest moments, you never know when a wrong number might lead to exactly the right person.